So basically, you have your what's called baseline ultrasound, and that happens. So you call them once your period starts, and I think it's day 3 after your period, and they do an ultrasound, which is really weird because it's an internal ultrasound. So you're like, well, this is close and personal, isn't it? um, and so on day 3 of your period, you go and you do an internal, and I think they check for like to see if you have any cysts or make sure your lining is getting thinned out. And then after day 3, depending on what your cycle's like, because if you kind of know what your cycle, like where you might ovulate, like I think so for me, I ovulate super early in my cycle most of the time. So they have me come in at like day 10, and they check to see if your lining is getting thicker. And then they check to see how many follicles you have on each side. So I was taking Clomid because I had PCOS, and I wasn't ever ovulating. So that was going to help me grow the eggs and the follicles. So I think the most I had at one time was like 5. And they have to have you sign a consent form like, you do realize that there's a possibility that you could have 5 babies. And I'm like, sure, like it's not going to happen.
Coming from a triplet. And I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I know. I always was a little nervous, but like Easton, I think I had 3 follicles when I got pregnant with him. And Avery, I think, was 2 or 3. So it's funny. But yeah, so then, yeah, day 10, you do that. And then they didn't have me like keep track of ovulation because they had me come in like every 2 to 3 days after that. Because they want them to all be the follicles that are there to be like over, I think it's like a size 18 inches or whatever, centimeters, 20, something like that. So they just kind of keep track. And then I did what's called a trigger shot like a day and a half before my IUI. So like if my IUI was like Sunday morning on like Friday night at a specific time, I would do the shot, which is terrifying the first time. But then after that, you're like, whatever, it's fine. Then you do the trigger shot. Then like 36 hours later, you go in, and then they make you come in with like a partially full bladder, which is interesting because they're like, pretty much don't pee on us while we stick this tube up there. Like, please.
So great.
But yeah, so then they do the IUI, and then they basically be like, all right, well, just lay here for 10 minutes with your bum up. And so they lift your bum up and just leave you in the room by yourself. And then they're always like, wait for the 2 weeks to do the beta test. Don't do any pregnancy tests. I'm like, are you kidding me? Who cannot?